Hey, so real quick disclaimer, this video took way too long to make, like Jesus Christ, and it was supposed to come out a lot earlier, and then now it's coming out almost a year after the game came out. So some of the stuff I say in this might be a tad bit outdated, especially when it comes to the lore, but I hope you enjoy the video anyways. And also, I'd like to really quick thank you to all my friends who have been very supportive of this video, because it was a huge fucking undertaking. Without further ado, then enjoy the video. How's it going, guys? Terminal Pixel here. Listen, I have a confession to make. I had a FNAF phase growing up. Yep, I was really into FNAF growing up. And honestly, I still kind of am. Ah, yes, I still remember the first time I heard about it when I was just a little guy. There I was, scrolling through YouTube, probably watching some Minecraft YouTuber or something.
This is the bread that you asked me to get, and you can now go make me a sandwich.
When all of a sudden, I came across a curious-looking video. I thought to myself, huh, that's a freaky-looking dog. And then I decided not to watch it and scroll past it. Yeah, I didn't really get into FNAF until Game Theory posted their first video about it, but after that, I was instantly hooked. I watched Let's Plays, I listened to fan songs, I kept up with the lore, everything. I even bought some of the merch made by Funko, and we all know how good they are at making merch.
No.
You see, the only problem was I hadn't actually played the games. See, at a young age, I was diagnosed with a debilitating condition known as being a sensitive baby bitch. Layer that with my terrible anxiety, and I'm sure you can understand why I wasn't comfortable with the thought of this shit coming to eat my face. For Christ's sake, I was already terrified of those Chuck E. Cheese animatronics, so imagine my reaction when Yogi Bear's meth-addicted uncle showed up in front of my face. But eventually, I did get over it for the most part, and I'm completely fine with playing the games now. I even did a Let's Play of the games on my old channel a couple years back.
Frank me, bro. What are you? You're nothing but a bunch of fetish art material.
But we don't talk about that. All of that's to say, I've got some history with this series, which is why I was super excited for the release of Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. You're telling me we're getting a fully free-roam FNAF game with a new protagonist, a giant map to explore, and multiple endings? Sign me and the rest of the FNAF community up! The hype for this game was insane, especially considering where the developers, Steelwool Studios, left the previous game off. And then everyone got their perfect FNAF game and lived happily ever after. The end.
Like that's ever gonna happen. What a load.
Somebody wants Five Nights at Freddy's. That's where I wanna be. Five Nights at Freddy's.
After receiving a very promising teaser trailer, Security Breach released in late 2020, early 2021, December 16, 2021. Yeah, the game was kind of delayed a lot, and even though we did get an update here and there, people were understandably a bit frustrated. But then, Scotty C himself descended from the heavens and bestowed upon us a gift. Security Breach, Fury's Rage, and it was good. Or maybe it wasn't, I don't know, I didn't play it. Either way, it was really nice of Scott to release a small little game as an apology for the delays. Honestly, just further solidifying himself as someone who the fanbase just absolutely loves. Well, until he got in trouble for liking the funny orange man and then promptly left the series. I mean, at least Funko was still doing what they do best. So while the FNAF community was taking more L's than your average funny blue hair man, Steelwool Studios was hard at work on development of Security Breach. And then, finally, after all that waiting, and debating, and speculating, and investigating, and overcompensating, maybe not that last one, the game was finally released, completely polished and bug-free. There's no other way to say it, the game just came out unfinished. This led to pretty mixed reviews from fans. People were either saying, Security Breach is a pretty good game, I really like the characters and the Pizzaplex is really cool. Or they were saying, Security Breach stole my family, keyed my wife, fucked my car, and killed my credit card. How could they allow such assetry? Sorry, I think I may have over-exaggerated that a bit. I, of course, picked it up on day one and played through it immediately. I mean, FNAF has never led me astray before. That doesn't count. So what do I think of the game? Now before I dive into the game, I feel like it'd be appropriate to catch everyone up on the FNAF lore. And I understand that not everyone here is as knowledgeable in the FNAF lore as I am. Yes, I did grow up without a father, how could you tell? A lot of people make the lore out to be like super complex and confusing, but it's actually quite simple. You see, it all started when business partners William Afton and Henry Emily created a pizza and arcade establishment called Freddy. Operating time thought that this was the bite of 87, when in fact it was the bite of 83 that killed them, and will be very important.
We try to read into every little thing, find meaning in everything anyone says. You'll just drive yourself crazy.
You got all that? Great. When we start up the game, we're greeted by a menu screen. Pause. Okay, what is this? This is the menu screen. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's just so boring. I mean, look back on the previous FNAF games. They were creepy, atmospheric, and made you hesitate before pressing play. Ominous music playing, all the while the sound of old equipment drones in the background. This one just makes me feel like I'm playing Skyrim. But whatever, the menu doesn't matter that much. When the game actually starts, we're greeted by this amazingly animated cutscene. I do want to mention really quick that the animation in this game is absolutely phenomenal. Like, you can really just see all the characters' personalities shine through in all their movements and expressions. It's really well done, and kudos to the animators over at Steelwool. They did an amazing job. Unfortunately, not long after the performance starts, Freddy starts tweaking out and fucking dies. Remember that, it's going to be a pretty common occurrence in this game. Freddy then wakes up in his green room to find the player character, Gregory, hiding inside of his stomach. It turns out for once in this series, entering an animatronic doesn't result in immediate death. At least Gregory didn't get the Michael treatment and get an animatronic inside of him. You know, now that I think about it, there's a lot more examples of people going in animatronics than animatronics going inside people. Let's see, there was that time with Ennard, and then there was also that time with... You know what, let's talk about something else. Freddy then lets us know that the Pizzaplex will close soon and we have to leave quickly. So naturally, I decided to take my sweet time looking around the area. And I gotta say, the first area of this game is actually pretty cool. It's basically just a bunch of FNAF memorabilia for the fans of the previous games. You got Bonnie's guitar, Chica's cupcake, the toys from FNAF 4, and, Rubble, I guess. Hey guys, what's your favorite FNAF character? Personally, I've always been a big fan of Singular Brick. We even get to see the other main three animatronics in their green room. There's Roxanne Wolf, who is talking to herself in a mirror, Montgomery Gator, who desperately needs a Snickers, and Glamrock Chica, who is just shredding it on the guitar. Once during talking to in a chase scene later, we make it to the entrance just in time to get locked inside. So now it's our job to survive until the doors open at 6 AM. You know the drill. But it's not going to be that easy, because all the while we'll have to face dangerous enemies like this just in, Florida Man kills rabbit, Richard Simmons for Cerna, FNAF in security breach, White Woman, wasted potential.
Out of your friends, which are you? Truck freak crazy ass. The fight.
And to round off the cast, we got Soda, OJ, Purple Stuff, and two kinds of Sunny D. So far, I really like what this game is doing. It's certainly a big departure from the classic formula of being glued to a chair and playing on your iPad while some guy on the phone says,
I am going to get on a plane, and I'm going to come out there for the day, and I'm going to straighten your ass out.
But I actually think it's kind of fitting, since this game serves as a beginning of a new era for FNAF, since the previous game, Help Wanted, did that whole soft reboot thing. Honestly, so far, I don't really understand the criticism. I'm having a great time.
It would be so awesome. It would be so cool.
Okay, here's the thing. If it wasn't obvious by now, all the footage you're seeing was recorded on a PS4, because I'll be fucked if I'm coughing up this much of some rando on eBay and my laptop turns into a fire hazard every time I open Chrome. So I didn't have much of a choice. Now, while the footage was recorded after the patch that fixed some bugs, I feel it's still important to briefly talk about my initial playthrough. Like I said before, Security Breach did come out unfinished, but at least the graphics were as good as they promised. Assuming you had a supercomputer that would make the Matrix look like a Tiger Electronic. If you can't remember or haven't seen them, this was the graphics at launch. And that's not even mentioning the numerous glitches and bugs. Oh my god, they were everywhere. But during my initial playthrough, I just did my best to ignore these things because, you know, I'm really just here for the lore, honestly. And I would have been able to look past all the technical problems for the sake of my own enjoyment if I was able to finish the fucking game. By the time I got to Monty's boss fight, the game was so laggy, it became unplayable. So I had to wait months for a patch to come out before I could even attempt to play the rest of the game. I don't think I need to explain why that's a bad thing. So yeah, first experience really soured my view on Security Breach. But now that the game has been mostly fixed, I made sure to come into this new playthrough with a completely open mind. And after finally getting a chance to play through the whole game, yeah, it still kinda sucks. Let's put the story aside for now and focus on gameplay. But don't worry, I have some choice words regarding the story for later. The main gameplay loop involves completing missions by sneaking around the Pizzaplex, all the while hiding from animatronics and security bots. I don't inherently hate this idea. I mean, hell, completing a set of tasks and missions was pretty much all of Sister Location. But where Security Breach fails in this concept is, well, how do I put this? The missions are fucking boring. All the missions are pretty much just glorified fetch quests that feel like they go on for way too long. You know what, actually, let's take the process you have to go through to get to Monty's boss fight as an example. First, you have to use a pass to get into Gator Golf, not before seeing the staff bot guarding the entrance do a little jig, of course. Anyways, you search around Gator Golf for a way to decommission Monty and find a pass to Mazercise. So we go up to Mazercise, but actually no, we need another thing from the daycare so we can get to the maze puzzle. So after going all the way back to the daycare, getting the key, and going all the way back to Mazercise, we can finally do the maze puzzle to get onto the catwalk in Gator Golf. Quick side note, fuck this puzzle. I spent so long just trying to figure out how this puzzle even works. There is seriously barely any sort of indication of how you're meant to even control this puzzle. I just gave up eventually and I had to look up a walkthrough. And before I get anyone saying, oh, it's actually easy to figure out, you're just bad at the game, I have just one thing to say to you. I may be stupid. Do you see what I mean now? The missions just drag on, and it certainly doesn't help that most of the time, it's not even clear where you're meant to go. And even after completing a mission, it feels like no progress is being made because Freddy and Gregory's motivation for doing all these missions aren't laid out at all. The only established motivation for Gregory is to survive and escape. But if anything, he's only endangering himself more. And this is all made worse by every mission feeling the exact same, with very little variety in between them. The only consistent shakeup from the traditional gameplay are these office sections that harken back to the office gameplay of the previous games. And these are at least decently tense and give off that sort of claustrophobic feeling that FNAF is known for. But then again, the only thing that really scares me in this section is the fact that there's a picture of Roxanne Wolf next to a bottle of lotion. Wait a minute!
Hello Internet, welcome to Game Theory.
Today we will solve FNAF. In Security Breach, we can see a picture of Roxanne Wolf next to lotion. What does this mean? Isn't it obvious? William Affin Nuttingham Roxanne. Don't believe me? Listen to this.
I always come.
This only leads us to a single conclusion. William Afton is a furry.
But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
But just because the gameplay doesn't have much variety doesn't mean the animatronics don't. Like the other games in the series, each animatronic has a different way of attacking the player. Chica is the most basic one, just running at you whenever she sees you. Monty can jump around and lunge at you, which, full disclosure, scared the shit out of me the first time it happened. And then there's Roxy, who attacks you emotionally by insulting you more than a child on Xbox Live. Honestly, I really don't know what her deal is. I'll just be walking around, minding my own business, and then all of a sudden...
I don't know how the fuck you jumping my son, you little nasty ass nigga. Shut your little bitch ass up, you dirty bitch. Who the fuck is this long ass, jawbreaker looking ass nigga and Miss Mary? Shut your bitch ass up, you ugly ass nigga, you dirty ass nigga.
But I don't really feel like this is enough to make the missions more exciting. And if you ask me, the real reason the missions fail is due to one singular reason. FNAF Security Breach isn't scary.
The animatronic characters here do get a bit quirky at night.
Okay, really quick, let's take another look at FNAF Sister Location. The tasks in that game, at least to me, have always felt really engaging and rewarding. Except for Night 4, but we're just gonna ignore that one. Especially in comparison of Security Breach's missions of, go in here. Oh, you can't, so go get the thing to open it. Oh, you can't get that thing? Well, then go get this other thing. You get the point. And listen, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like closing a door is the most engaging thing in the world. But what makes something as simple as holding a door better in comparison to exploring an expansive location to find your objective is two things: tension and atmosphere. Think about it. What do you do in most FNAF games?
You sit in the office and look at the cameras.
That's right.
Yay, what do I win?
Now, while the gameplay of traditional FNAF is very simplistic, the constant sense of fear that radiates through the environment keeps you on your toes. That's why FNAF 1 works so well. The claustrophobic and almost helpless feeling, along with its amazing sound design, makes the player feel like something could pop out at any moment. And in that moment when the power goes out and Freddy plays his song, the only light coming from his eyes, you're left completely alone in the dark with only your thoughts to accompany you. Security Breach just doesn't have that. Obviously, the Pizzaplex being such an expansive location, that claustrophobic feeling is mostly lost, give or take a couple sections. But there's also the problem of the Pizzaplex just not being that creepy in design. Don't get me wrong, there are sections of the mall that are meant to be dark and unsettling, and I think some of these sections would work with just a bit of tweaking. Hell, I think some of these work just on their own. For example, take the daycare section. This is, in my opinion, the scariest part of the game, easily. First of all, Sun, despite being friendly towards the player, has a really creepy design and has so much enthusiasm that it's kind of unsettling. And then after the lights go off, he starts freaking out, and then we get this.
Naughty boy. Naughty boy. It's past your bedtime.
Then there's the daycare itself. You have to find 5 generators scattered around the daycare and these playground structures, all the while Moon chases after you. Crawling through the playground section restores that feeling of claustrophobia, making trekking through them really tense. But having this section at the beginning of the game really emphasizes how underwhelming the other levels of the game are. The only place I feel really comes close to this is the endoskeleton storage room, but I may just be biased because things that move when you're not looking at them scare the shit out of me. But you know what else scares me? Poor game design.
She is such a bad bitch though. I will fuck the shit out of that robot.
There are design elements in Security Breach that I just don't understand. Like these security bots. They work like alarms that, when come into contact with, will alert any nearby animatronic to your location, also known as just teleporting behind you, which is honestly really immersion breaking. But even so, I think conceptually, the security bots work as an obstacle, especially in the more empty areas. But there is such an overabundance of them that they start to feel more like an infestation. Maybe it's just me, but honestly, they just feel like a really cheap way to increase the difficulty. And it's not like they make the game more tense either. Getting jump scared by them feels more annoying than scary. Even getting around them doesn't feel rewarding. They just make navigating the Pizzaplex feel more like a chore. Speaking of navigating, good luck doing that, because this is what the map looks like. Do I even need to say anything? Nothing is labeled. I mean, you have the key, but look how pitiful this is. What am I supposed to do with this? This can make traversing the Pizzaplex really confusing and have you going in circles for hours. Especially if you haven't played in a couple days and then come back and you have to go to a specific location for a mission. You open the map and, oh yes, I see. All you need to do is take a right at Gator Golf, make a U-turn at the intersection, and ride the freeway down to Parts and Service. You can't miss it! I could go on and on about other things, like how interacting with things take way longer than it should, and how most of the collectibles don't serve much of a purpose, but I'm already rambling, so I won't. However, I wouldn't feel right not talking about the most infamous questionable decision in Security Breach. Game saves. See, this game has save stations around the mall that, obviously, are what you access to save the game. But here's the thing. There's no autosave, meaning that when you die, you'll respawn at the last save station you used. So if you complete a mission and can't find a save or forget to save and die, you'll have to redo the entire mission over again. And with the missions being as boring as they are, this can be really frustrating. I really just can't wrap my head around some of the things in this game. I really want to like this game, but there's just so much that takes me out of it. Well, I guess there's always the endings and the lore. Actually, yeah, the lore. That's why I love this series to begin with. The lore, the story. I mean, FNAF has had some weird and sometimes poor storytelling in the past, but it always came through for me. I mean, surely Security Breach doesn't have unsatisfying endings that raise a bunch of questions and barely answer anything, right? Okay, before we talk about the endgame, there's a couple things you need to know first. Basically, all you need to know is that while in parts and service, Gregory discovers that the animatronics have upgrades that he can salvage and apply to Freddy. So he takes it upon himself to absolutely beat the shit out of the animatronics. In my playthrough, I went to Gator Golf like the nerd I am, and threw Monty off the catwalk. After taking the hands off of Monty's corpse, I went to drive around Roxy's Raceway, until I remembered that I can't drive. Anyway, 6 AM finally comes around and we head to the entrance to escape. But Freddy gives us a choice to either stay or leave, saying that if we leave now, children are going to continue to disappear. Now I don't know what the hell they're talking about, considering missing children were never brought up during the game, so I guess they just forgot to establish that plot point. That's a good sign. Security Breach has 6 possible endings, so let's go down the list. Ending 1. Gregory decides he's had enough with these shenanigans and books it out of the Pizzaplex. With nowhere to go, he sleeps in an alleyway with a very interesting looking face, but while he's sleeping, Vanny finds him, kills his parents, and Gregory becomes Batman. Actually, wait, I don't think that last part is Ending 2. Gregory hijacks a company van, despite the last time he drove, resulting in... Gregory also brings Freddy along for the ride, but since Freddy runs in the battery of a Nintendo Switch, he dies. So Gregory hotwires Freddy by the ears with the car, which works and they probably live happily ever after or something. Ending 3. Freddy decides to do what any rational person would do and commits arson, after which the duo heads to the rooftops to find Vanny. But just before Vanny can kill Gregory, Freddy throws himself off the side of a building. Maybe this is where I should have made that Fallen Kingdom joke. Gregory runs down the fire escape to find Freddy and Vanny dead. But get this, Vanny was actually Vanessa the whole time. Fucking crazy, right? But also maybe not, because we see Vanessa on the top of the building at the end, but like it might just be her spirit or something. I don't know. Don't expect me to have all the answers. Who do I look like? Matthew Patthew?
I just simultaneously whipped and nay-nay!
Ending 4. If you find Vanny's hidden room in Phaser Blast, you get the option to confront her directly. When we get there, Freddy unfortunately gets jumped by a bunch of security bots until we press a button that makes all the security bots kill Vanny in an honestly really brutal way. Oh yeah, and Freddy's dead, but like actually this time. Ending 5. Okay, so same thing as the last time, except this time, Gregory decides that the grind don't stop for nothing and plays the third Princess Quest game, while I guess Vanny just waits patiently in the corner. And Gregory is such a gamer that Vanny decides to ditch the whole furry look and leaves with Gregory. Also, Freddy is just ahead now. And that's all the endings.
What about the Afton ending?
Didn't I blow you up earlier?
Yeah, but actually, no.
That's the last time I buy explosives off Wish.
Don't change the subject, talk about the last ending.
Fine, I'll talk about the damn ending. When you're presented with the choice to either go after... Can you leave?
Yeah, sure.
When you're presented with the choice to either go after Chica or Monty, you won't be able to go after the one that you didn't choose before 6 AM. But if you decide to stay in the Pizzaplex, you can go back to take care of anything you might have missed. In my case...
Oh, these are pretty cool bananas.
I bring this up because Freddy needs every upgrade to access this ending. Going under Roxy Raceway, you can find an elevator that leads to the underground area of the Pizzaplex. As we explore this area, we find what looks like the location from FNAF 6. So I guess it didn't burn down entirely, but I mean, hey, it's still kind of a cool way to call back to the original ending. You know what? I bet we'll see something really cool, like Vanny's secret plans, or maybe the Afton amalgam from the books. Honestly, anything would be cool, as long as it's not...
Why, hello there, old sport.
Oh, okay. What else is there? Oh, great. And does Vanny play into this or even appear at all? Well, game, you did it. You broke me. I tried. I really tried to like you, but this is where I draw the line. In case you don't understand why this ending infuriates me so much, let me elaborate a bit. As I mentioned previously, the original FNAF story ended in FNAF 6. The game ended with Henry making this grand speech as the building slowly burns down, releasing the remaining children's souls, condemning Afton to hell, and finally ending the life of the main protagonist, Michael Afton. It was and still is my favorite moment from the entire franchise. It really felt like this fitting conclusion to this 6-game long story.
Although for one of you,
The darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole. So don't keep the devil waiting, old friend.
Hey, wait a minute.
Afton being here completely undermines what should have been a badass and triumphant moment. But with the knowledge that William is alive again, and don't even get me started on Freddy Spaghetti over here, Henry and Michael's sacrifice feels completely pointless. I know that this is Glitchtrap possessing Afton's body, but one, I'm tired of seeing Springtrap. He's cool and all, and I really like him as a villain, but he's also supposed to be dead, like twice over now. And two, what sense does it make for Glitchtrap to want to do this? He was a powerful virus that couldn't be destroyed by conventional means, and now he's fucking Peepaw Afton. And you'd think that if they're gonna bring back the main antagonist of the whole series, he would at least have a fun and intense boss fight. Instead, you just press buttons while animatronics stumble in the room and insert hentai joke here. And once again, in a game where she is built up as the main threat, Vanny is nowhere to be found. And this is definitely the true ending. I know that there's some debate about which ending is really the canon ending, but the fact that this is the only one that's actually animated, including the final shot, feels pretty certain to me that this is the canon one. Speaking of ending, how does this one end?
That's it?
Look, okay, I wanna like this game, I really do, but I just can't. I figured everything would be better once most of the bugs were patched out, but I think all that did was highlight all the other things wrong with this game. It's just so sad too, because this game had so much potential behind it. Listen, I love the new characters in this game, the Pizzaplex is so cool, and I really think there was a lot of ambition and love behind the development of this game, but it's just all that is overshadowed by all the glaring issues. I think if I had to sum up everything in one sentence, it would be, I'm not upset, I'm just disappointed. But hey, at least I did learn a valuable lesson in all this. And that's to never get overhyped for something that you don't know that much about. Yep, I think it's safe to say I learned my lesson. Holy shit, Security Breach DLC!